From high atop the world headquarters of Southeastern Fly, this is the Southeastern Fly podcast. Thanks for joining us on this episode. Feel free to share it with your friends and your fishing partners. Also, you can now watch this episode on YouTube. Just search for Southeastern Fly and go ahead and subscribe to that, and you'll be the first to know when an episode drops. Leave a like, click to follow. We'll be good to go. I want to talk today about the perfect fly box. So I've been searching for the perfect fly box probably since I've been fishing, and I've been searching for the perfect flies too. But today I just want to talk about fly boxes and the perfect fly box. I've been searching for years for this perfect fly box. I've accumulated a lot of fly boxes over those years. Some I've thrown away. I've given away some. I lost some in the truck. I've lost some in the boat. There's several in the garage I've lost and found this winter whenever I finally cleaned out the garage. And I probably misplaced more than I care to remember. I did like finding a box of tiny dry flies earlier this year and they've not been touched for probably 10 years. I looked for that box everywhere, several different times, trying to remember where in the heck did I put that box. And I found it in the boat. It was actually in the rower's bench, and I had changed boats two times since I used these. So it's probably been more than 10 years. But anyway, those flies took me back to a summer when me and Brent we would get on the river. I don't know, maybe about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We'd fish our way, but downstream. But basically, we'd roll downstream, not as fast as we could, but we didn't let any grass grow under our feet, if you know what I mean. We would wait for that sun. We get in a spot, and then we would wait for the sun to go just down toward the tops of the trees. And when it got to the very tip and started just going down there, all these rainbows would come out, and they were big ones. They were 20 and several 20-inch plus rainbows, and they're eating these tiny little midges, and even some mayflies. We found some mayflies down there. We just had a really great summer, and man, we fished, and I had a box of those tiny dries, and over the winter, I guess I stuck them in the rower's bench and forgot about them. But yeah, that box was gone forever, and I looked in there. I've had some tools and all kinds of stuff in there, but yeah, I finally found them. But anyway, oh, fly box. So anyway, I bought those. I bought fly boxes in fly shops. I found them in convenience stores near the river. I bought them online. Generally, I think I've spent money on fly boxes just about everywhere they're available. And there are all kinds of fly boxes out there too. They have boxes for like streamers and hoppers, other terrestrials, nymphs, dries, midges, all that stuff. They're made of metal, plastic, leather, who knows what else. I've always wanted a leather fly box. I guess you would call, I don't know if you call it a fly box or not. A case, maybe, I don't know. But I've always wanted one of those. I've never gotten one with like wool on the inside where you stick the flies. Anyway, the inserts, speaking of inside, the inserts are made of like soft foam and gel and wool and other sustainable, what you call it, materials that sometimes hold the flies and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you can take them out of your vest or out of the boat bag or whatever, and they're just all falling out in there. So you gotta hunt for what's the best box and with the best inserts to hold the flies the best. And they wear out over time. So now you're looking at them online versus in the store. And I used to say, well, I got to put my hands on the box before I bought it. Prior to me, laying down those sawbucks, it's like a no-brainer. But now I thought, well, I've had pretty good luck online too. Every couple of years, somebody designs a new way to hold all the different flies, and I get suckered in easily. And I lay down the sawbucks at the start of the year, only to toss that box aside at the end of the season. Most of the time, all the flies that are in it go with it because, I mean, the ones that are left in there that haven't been used or have unused or once or twice probably haven't caught many fish, and I don't have any confidence in them. And the patterns are important, and some patterns come and go. I mean, I've seen some patterns come and go that you see online. You tie them, yours looks as good as the person online tying, and you take them out there and you don't catch diddly squat. But right now, I'm kind of leaning toward those old school patterns. But in the corners of the boxes, I have some new stuff too, and I'm just seeing, is that pattern worthy of staying in the box? But let me ask you this. So I was thinking the other day, what would happen if we had to take all the flies out of the fly boxes when we get home from the water? So you come in the evening, you're hot or cold or tired and hungry, and and you had to take all the flies out and you had to lay them on the table, let them dry out and all that. And then right before the next trip, say the morning you get up to the next trip, you have to restock those fly boxes. So maybe you might start picking through them a little more and whittling down a few less to a few less patterns. Uh, and then you might add new ones into the pile or into the box. Then the morning of the trip, you got them all restocked. And let's say it just takes about an hour. So if you had to do that, there might be a chance where we'd be a little more focused on the flies that we're fishing if we did it this way. But then again, you got to ask yourself, well, what would I do with my spare time if I wasn't filling up fly boxes? But just think about that for a minute. I'm going to stop right there just a second and say, I've got all these flies laid out on my tying desk that I've spent all this time putting together and tying and gathering up the materials and all that stuff. And then it's the morning of, and you got your fly box there, and you got to put in to your fly box or fly boxes all your flies. I think you would do that 2 or 3 or 4 times, and then you would start whittling down those fly boxes that we carry. Again, what would I do in with my spare time if I did that? But you could focus a little more. It might be a better way to focus on getting good presentation, only fishing with the flies that really make sense, only putting flies in that box that have a reputation of working, not just because I saw it and it looked cool. How many times have I tied a fly because it looked cool only to find out that that sucker just doesn't work. But anyway, so I just thought I had the other day. If we had to put together that box in the morning, maybe we wouldn't have fly boxes at all though. We might just use those little plastic cups that you get in the fly shop. You know what I'm talking about. They've got the logo on them and all that. But I tried that, and I can go ahead and tell you that eventually little plastic cups lead to more little plastic cups, and then even more little plastic cups. You can sort them by color. A guy gave me a some plastic cups that used to hold electrical tape. I got a whole bunch of those. They're sitting right over here, and what I found out is those things are really cool, but when you need that one little special fly that works in one special place, and you have to produce, you can't find that cup with that special fly. It's nowhere to be found until maybe you don't need it anymore. So you can't find it. So what the heck? I'm gonna throw my usual on there or whatever. And then you get back home and you're cleaning out something else and you find all those little plastic cups, and then there it is right in the bottom of the bag or in the bottom of your vest or your pack or whatever it is that you happen to be using. Fly boxes actually take up less room than those little plastic cups we get at the fly shops anyway. So that's one great plan of mine that really hasn't worked out quite the way I thought it would anyway. But anyway, I ran into those boxes and thought it was a great idea. It just didn't work out. But for trout, now I am condensing, and condensing sucks. I don't like it, but I hate looking through a bag that's all messed up before. So I went from a Yeti Go box, which I thought was going to be the coolest thing. It lasted about, I got it around Christmas of last year, I think. So it's lasted 10 months or so. But that Yeti Go box is now gone from all my trout stuff, and I'm beginning a muskie only case. So I'm keeping it, but it's just gonna have bigger stuff in it. So when I get another minute, I'm gonna organize another box for some reason. I don't know why, but anyway, for trout, now I've got that smaller Orvis bag. That's different than the bigger Orvis boat bag I have on the shelf out there that I don't even know what it has in it. Probably fly boxes, if I had to guess, and some old band-aids and stuff. But this new Orvis boat bag is about 1/3 smaller than the big one that's on the shelf out there. It's really not. It's not really a bag at all. It's kind of this soft sided, harder type case with dividers in it, and I don't know. It's sort of cool. It's not too big. It's not too small. It holds the different. Now I'm on the. It's more like putting flies in gear boxes now, like they use for lures and stuff. But anyway, I've got those filled up, and I've got some fly boxes in there too, and I've got another one of those really cool plastic. They used to call them Plano because Plano was the ones that made it. But anyway, I've got another one of those over there that I'm filling up now with some of those old school patterns I was talking about a while ago. But Anyway, this Orvis boat bag is about a third smaller, so I've condensed again, and I have every intention of keeping this new bag clean inside and out. So I figure that might last to spring next year. But I can tell you this condensing ain't easy, and organizing ain't easy either. Just just making room. It's just so as I was cleaning out that go box, that old stuff, it just became a chore. So I was tossing out empty bags that one time had flies in them, and cracked containers, and old chapstick, and rusted hooks that used to be my favorite fly, or my favorite fly, and old Kleenex that's soaking up something, and old lures that have been cut from trees were in there, and new stick-on indicators that are stuck to the paper that they came on. They're supposed to come loose, but they don't. I don't know what I'm keeping those for. Lost nippers. I found some of those, some rusted nippers that aren't any good anymore. Empty floating containers, for floating your flies, and fly line cleaner bottles that spilled about half of it out. And that's probably what causes all the rust on my favorite flies. Loose split shot in all different sizes rolling around down there in the bottom. Three ballpoint pens. I found those. I don't know what the heck those are doing in there. I did find a some markers that I've been marking up the bottom of some of my foam flies and some of the foam streamers. I did that for a while too. Those are gone. Those are all or well, pretty much dried up. Maybe not all dried up. Those are the easy things to throw away. They're almost the no-brainers of throwing away. But then there's that other stuff that's in there, stuff that's not so easy. And you got to decide, does that stay or does it go? That sounds like a song. Should I stay or should I go? Okay, that's totally 80s. But anyway, you have to decide what stays and goes. Like there's two pair of unrusted nippers. So everybody needs a backup to the backup, I guess. And I don't even use nippers. Like quarter full floatant bottles, more backups to the backups to the other backups. I mean, you never know when you might want to get a super high floating fly, dress that fly line where it sinks, after everybody gets an amazingly long drift that nobody else can get, or just need to lubricate a squeaky oar lock, which you hear those boats coming down the river from a mile away, and they drive me crazy whenever an oar is squeaking. Or actually, it's usually the oar lock squeaking in a boat, but there's loose flies that people hang in the parking lot at the ramp, and business cards from guides and customers and future customers, and old pill bottles. They've got even more flies in there, so I'm condensing those down. That other pair of extra hemostats that have some good scissors on the front of them, not the back. I found a half dozen peanut envy flies that a friend of mine tied, some old clouders, a dozen or so various nymphs that are just rolling around, whole bunch of different colored midges, that tray that comes in the go box, that thing's just littered in the bottom of them. I finally just took a magnet and sorted through them that way. So lots of sorting going on, I guess I should say, and it takes a while. I remember things I need to do, like collect all those flies in the bottom of the boat. I got to do that because there's all kinds of those. Most of them have rusted hooks where there's been water in the bottom of the boat and now it's dried out. And I don't know. And then it reminds me, now I got to clean the boat out so I can take the hose and wash it all out and all the nooks and crannies. You know what I'm going to find in there? More flies, I'm sure. And then the other day, I ordered some more flies from my tires so that they could get started on next year. And I'll also work on some new patterns. And that right there is where we started. We're right back there. We're back to needing more fly boxes for more flies. You just listened to the Perfect Fly Box on Southeastern Fly. See you next time.